machines. I was working with paints in India, and after coming back to USA, like I worked with Walmart for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got my baby, and I'm on break since last 7 years. So
Okay.
now we are about to get a green card, so I want to start my career again.
Wow, wow, great idea. Just let's do a quick recap. We've seen about the overall what BA does, what BA requirements overall. So how we basically start our working in a typical organizations. This training is basically not just for the IT, but for manufacturing, logistics, service, and support industry as well, for that matters. So we are trying to cover a gamut of different domains here. So this will be kind of bit generic. There'll be of course deep dive into information technology domain, as an we believe it's all spread across the globe, and BA are basically very disciplined process in IT. So we'll have a look at that in detail as well, but predominantly I would like to keep it as generic as possible, because there are some enthusiasts who are coming from the other domains as well, right? So let's go ahead. This is what we've seen last time. I want to start with overall definitions. If you know, see, there are some standard certifications in the standard certification which we normally follow. Like for even project management, we have PMI, that Project Management Institute, situated in Pittsburgh, right? Means they have their corporate headquarters there, but around 3 lakh plus branches all over the world. And they also have a that's what we called BA Business Analyst Practice certifications, right? So this definition is I took it from that book basically. So we're trying to understand a kind of a recap overall. So we are trying to understand here what is business analyst, right? So what is business analyst? Analyst is a role. Analyst is the process what the role performs, right? What the role is expected. So let's have a look at this thing and try to understand in detail, because this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to learn for next 2 weeks. We've started early. We'll have a bit of revision of that as well, right? So business
Yeah.
analyst is a practice of enabling change in an enterprise, in an organizations, in a group of people working together, by defining needs, recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, right? So we are talking about defining needs or understanding needs, building needs, and creating a discipline documents for that, creating a discipline artifacts. Might not be the document, it can be something like a good fishbone diagram, it can be a good UML diagram. We'll have a look at each and every of these entities in details as and we go on, right? And then recommending solution, recommending approaches, recommending the actual process path to the stakeholders can be a product owner, organization owner, or management, top management, CIO, CTO, and various other really senior benefactor. What we are trying to address to their needs, or work as per their need, right? So this is how the overall business analyst performance expectations are, right? Okay, and BA enables the enterprise to articulate the needs, the rationale of change, and to design and describe solution that can deliver value. So the way overall current expectations from industry can be thought of. So we think that BA needs to articulate the need, right? So define the need, or rather plan it perfectly, how the needs are getting overall to the business, how they can be presented for a typical business. So he and she should understand the requirements and the business as well, and rationale for change. So we are talking about a very senior person who can be adaptive to the change. So he should be enabled with bit of project management methodology as well, bit of quite a few execution throughout the organization. That's what we are talking about, right? So he must be able to design and describes the solutions as well. So these are like the total expectation we are talking about. You can be something like 80% of design, 50-60% of describing solution, because each and every time you implement the solution, there can be a different technology, different execution, different on-floor arrangement as well, for that matters. As we are talking about non-IT business as well, means be it something like shop floor at Procter and Gamble factory. So there are some robots in Femcare products. Means I've seen that in St. Louis, Cape Girardeau. So we have around 17 robotics FemCare product executions there. So a typical BA, if you look at the BA's day there, you want to understand how the robots are performing, how to take data value, how to take data points from them, just to suggest the improvement, just to understand the process, just to levitate the process to another level where the BA can add value to the business. So we are talking about a very senior person, very intelligent, brilliant person to understand the business and suggest the analysis to the top management. This is how the scope of work overall works out. For a given scenario, it can be as simple as a junior asked by senior manager saying, please give me a report of, as we discussed last time, please give me a report of employees who are using the flexi timing options. This can be a simple BA job, right? So he can, support or he can deliver an Excel sheet with, number of employees who are using the flexi hours time or flexi day work kind of scenarios, right? So this is a simple example which follow, and I believe we will follow throughout the BA, trainings, right? So this is a BA book. And if you could, share me your email ID, I would like to share the BA book with you, because it's really great reading, great to understand, great to learn from. It's a big book, and it's really, talks about philosophy, the overall, understanding of BA book as well. Does anybody have any confusion, challenges, understanding the definition?
At least not me.
No.
Go ahead, please.
No.
Okay. So you understood, right? Because this is important. This is the actual philosophy we are talking about. This is actual, what you can say, what we are going to do, how we are going to understand the whole, process, right? So this is really important. So I'll just move on. Then we are talking about the overall roles and titles. What type of people are expected to perform BA activities? Because these activities, you could be a kind of single person, you could be a team. You could be wearing a couple of other hats as well. So, you can be a business architect, you can be a system analyst, you can be a data analyst, enterprise analyst, management consultant, a process consultant, product manager, product owner, requirement engineer, and system analyst. So, we are talking about a gamut of people who do BA activities within their roles and titles. So, this is what you can be or you could be, frankly speaking. So, we are addressing number of different hats here, and so the requirement of the duties and performance, right? Let's go in depth. Tell me if I'm going a bit faster, I'll stop and take a breath, right? Okay, so we seen this thing last time, might be with a different diagram, but this is from BA book, so let's try to understand this as well, right? So business requirement, what we do, we try to understand business requirement. Why do I want it? Is it a need? Or is it an option? Do we need to have those budgets allocated right now, or could we do it with lesser priorities? So we need to understand the business priority as well. So we need to understand the domain up to a great extent, so that we can really suggest to the top management what are these requirements for, be it a project, be it something like overall organizational strategic improvements. We'll have a look at different type of business strategies, or different type of business analysis process as well. So you'll understand the depth and girth of the whole process requirement or the role requirement. We'll go in step by step way, basically. So there are some stakeholder requirements as well. So then again we need to qualify these things. So we need to really qualify the requirements. We need to define the scope. What do we actually need at this moment? How can we define the priority? How can we really elicit the requirement? How can we document the requirement? And how can we transition the requirement as well? So if you define some priority right now, might be whenever you review it after, let's say, 2 weeks down the line, you have to really understand, are they becoming priority 1 now? Are they moving to the top on the overall stack of the requirement, right? So those kind of transitioning also is important as far as typical BA role. You can see the picture, right? Cycle continues until the requirements are met. Will you able to see the picture? Are you able to see the picture? The present?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's move on. We've seen this thing. These are the table of contents from the introductory lecture, and we are going to go by that. So we also have look at this agenda in detail. So we are trying to understand the requirement, trace the requirement, maintain the requirement. So there could be a simple Excel sheet, or there could be some software which organization uses depending on the need and overall, plan of the organizations or work atmosphere of the organization. We need to prioritize. We just seen we need to assess the requirement changes, transitioning, approval of the requirements, also a responsibility of BA, scope flexibility. How can we adapt to scope? How can we improve the overall scopes, requirement and scope? Yes. Then we see the different roles. So we have a BA with product, BA with consulting, we have a BA with business architecture or as a business architecture, BA to digital transition as well. Means this is a really important track as far as the BA goes as of today, because there are lots of organizations still transitioning to digital era. They're trying to be a paperless. They're trying to go distant distance working like remote working and so on and so forth. So now we are talking about a very global scenario. So role of BA really elevates overall in a current scenario, right? So what do you mean by analysis overall, right? We've seen the definition. So I believe we understood the superior business analysis framework. This is also again from a PA book. There are aspirations, measures, tactics, activities, and there are some different let's say need of aspirations are basically a mission principle from where we derive the aspirations, and then build the measures. We'll come out with the data. We need to come out with a collection method, right? And then there are different tactics. So we have action areas, we have policy which fit to the tactics. We build these tactics, we document these tactics, and then we define activities as a typical BA, right? So we define processes, we define system tools and techniques to be used. We also give the forms and templates to different departments. We're going to see in and what comes to BA, how BA performs, and what outputs are expected from BA as well. We'll work on that also today. So today is all about BA, it's working, and if possible we're going to start on tools as well. So what are tools and how we'll start using it? I might start from something like Excel as an basic tool. Let's say around 15-20 minutes on Excel to understand how BA performs his duty day in day out, and then we go to a specific tools. Can be a UML diagram, word analysis, so on and so forth, right? So we'll come to that latter. We've seen this thing how the poor requirements work. So requirement has to be really crucial part of the BA. So we need to understand the requirement in detail. We'll see that thing as well. This is basically again from BA book. So there are different roles which we step on. So typical BA can be a closely working with PM as well as overall product owners. Product owners are basically who start or gives the idea. Let's say if somebody comes with the idea of building a order management system, right? You've seen order management system, right? It's something like a typical hotel or a typical let's say big online store like Amazon or Walmart, whatever you want to understand it as. So product owner is basically a guy who owns the product, who owns the who envision the idea. Let's say order management at an Amazon, it be different than order management in a typical hotel you working with, or you're going to develop the solution for. So we really closely work with PO as well as the PM. PM is a person who actually manages the project of the execution of solution from envisioning to delivery to support and so on and so forth, right? So we need to closely work with these two areas, and this diagrams depicts the clear roles and responsibilities, or rather very critical points which these roles execute in day in day out. Okay. Any confusion at this moment? Any difficulty in understanding?
Yeah, I have one question.
I was also about to request. It is too fast. I'm unable to catch up.
Is it going faster, Shitu?
Yeah, for me, I'm able to understand what you're saying, but it's like very fast for me. I'm taking time to process the previous slide, and the slide is changing and moving on, right? So
okay, do you want me to go back?
Yeah, because to understand the previous slide only is taking time for me. Then immediately the next slide it is.
Sorry. Which slide? This slide we seen last time, right?
This slide I am unable to understand what you said.
This slide?
Yeah,
we discussing last time also, but I'll explain again.
Yeah.
Aarti, just hold on. I'll take one by one, okay?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
So,
No
we are
problem.
trying to understand impact of poor requirements. See, BA works starts from a requirement, right? Requirement gathering, what you say, right? We'll have a look at this in depth afterwards as well. But I would really love to, understand this. We discussed last time also, but let's see. So, what we are talking about here? There's a business, there's a project, and the BA standing in between and trying to define the needs of the business here. This is also a kind of generic approach these guys have shown here. I believe I took this image from one of the BA groups on the net, and so this is basically kind of really widened dream of a typical BA, or how can BA how the BA needs to understand the requirement, or how the importance of the BA requirements in a BA's life overall, right? So BA needs to understand strategic goals in the sense the top management goal for a typical scenario. Let's say an order management system. If let's say product owner is a CIO, he comes to you and saying, "Hey BA, I want to define or I want to develop an order management system." So we need to understand his scenario, his priority, his business, like where this order management scenario is going to fit in for him. So there is a strategic level, there's overall competitive position as well. So I need to understand the different business positions he have in the market. Let's say an Amazon CEO comes to you and asks for order management system. So what I need to understand, are there any another Amazon like online shopping systems which I can really utilize or leverage to build a good solution for Amazon, right? So I need to understand, or I need to study, or I need to analyze. Analyze is the rather best suitable word. Analyze the other scenarios in the market for a given solutions what I am developing, right? And then there are market compliance as well. I couldn't go on hacking systems, and start using. I need to understand the flow. I need to implement those flow, right? So there are some limitation in terms of market compliance. There are some stakeholder engagement also. So what are the stakeholders are really, supporting those scenario? How I need to understand their vision, wish list, what you call. Then performance and non-performance requirement will come to each and this entity throughout the training. So don't worry if you find these
Okay.
words a bit heavy. These are basically from IT
Yeah, yeah.
partygram, right? So we'll understand each and every of these entities in a later thing. Sorry, go ahead. Any question?
Sure.
Okay, great. So then we need to also understand the business process efficiency. So how efficient is the process? This is again the wish list or the expectation of the top management, right? And then positive user experience. That's what we're going to generate, because user satisfaction is a really good need for a typical scenario. So when you're developing an order management system, the users are basically the day-to-day customers which come to Amazon, which come to whatever counterpart you're working on, right? So those we need to understand how their experience could be leveraged, how their experience could be enriched with these solutions. And then some bottom lines, like I need to sell some items, I need to sell items from my catalog, from my stocks. That's the bottom line, right? And that's how the order management is going to get executed. So I need to understand the bottom line, ये जिसको अपन बोलते हैं ना सबसे नीचे का रिक्वायरमेंट, जिसके ऊपर ये पूरा solution टिका हुआ है, right? So that's what you call bottom line basically. And then we have a cohesive IT landscape in the sense, if they have any other application where this application fits in the business, that's what we are talking about. So if they have something like let's say order management system offline for that matters, and which they want to take it to online, so I need to understand the offline scenario as well, so that I will cope up for that business. I'll align my solutions with that business so that they can really be a wow factor in those operators, in those working area, and the CR will be really satisfied, so that the solution meets its start end as well as end. End means overall it will complete the process, it will basically execute the complete requirement of a solution. Did you understand these aspects? Okay, so I'll move to
Yes.
projects now. Now, how this fits into the implementation part of it. This is what we see in the idea, right? The business idea, business vision. Now we move to project. How we will implement this thing? So we need to understand, we need to define project scope with the help of PM, so that whatever the analysis which I have done, right? I'll do the analysis, I'll do the requirements. What are the requirements for the order management system? Then I'll go to PM, or PM will come to me and say, PM boss, have a look at this. So we need to define this. This is what the scope, what I believe. Let's try to discuss it out. Let's try to qualified, because PM has the budget. PM is the executionary head for a given solution, right? PM will develop the order management system. So we need to understand, build the scope for him, or assist him in building scope, and then try to understand the budget, try to understand the schedule and timelines. Because if CI wants in 3 months, I couldn't keep developing it for the 6 years, right? So I need to understand the budget, time, efforts, and all those things. Then what are the resources? These are basically project managers' hats, but we need to assist them. So we need to assist them in project resources, business process design, user interface design, software specifications as well. See, all these points, they don't have anything called technology. They don't have anything called platform. So the PM is at liberty to choose. He can go with .NET, he can go with Java, he can go with any technology for that matters. So BA predominantly is independent of implementation, but he assists in the implementation. So we'll have a look at the roles, input output, so you'll get a clear and crisp idea. But right now, try to understand, he's assisting PM. He's taking the vision from top management and sharing with the PM, with his documents, with his outputs, right? So he'll generate the software specification, he'll create the overall requirement for the testings, and even code rework or support rework. If there's a support project, you need to understand how the code rework, code rework cycle. After you deploy the solution, there are certain enhancement, there are certain problems comes. So we do a test cycle, and then we build a rework cycle. How this has to be redefined, enriched, or build it better that way. So those kind of cycles are called cold rework cycles. So we need to help or assist PM to build this cold rework cycle. This is specifically for support scenarios. And then overall solution integration. Like I said, how to integrate with the solution with the organizational technological partigram, organizational technology spread, or if there are any other solution, how can I club these solutions, or to guide or assist PM in clubbing these solutions with the other solutions as well, right? So have you understood these elements? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks. So stop me and I'll try to explain each and every point. And Aarti, can I come to your questions, please?
Actually, my question is not related with the slides. I just want to ask them, why any organization will hire a BA? They will go for a product owner. The product owner can also do a job of BA.
Yes, this is really good and crucial question for a typical BA. Let me try to explain this thing. See, as and when we evolve, right? Predominantly, whenever this is basically part of evolution. See, whenever if you look at I'll give you a good example of doctors. If you look at 40 years, down the line, means let's say in 1940s, 1950s, we just have 2 or 3 doctor specialization. There could be one gynae, there could be one general, there could be one let's say bone specialist. So these 3 doctors were there. Then comes if you go to around 20 years down, prior to our current scenario, we had around 16, 15 type of different doctors. Means ENT special, eye specialist, chest specialist, and blah blah blah. And if you look at today, we have around 36 odd different doctors. Right? This is how the process evolves. Yeah. Right? So this is how even business analyst's role have been evolved. Even including PM roles have been evolved. We define product owners. Product owner is basically label given by agile project methodologies, and even agile. That's why I say that BA book, which comes from PMI Institute, is really important, because PMI Institute basically is a global leader for defining project practices. Even IEEE, computer societies, they work with PMI to evolve these models, methodologies, right? Frameworks, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it. We'll have a look at these differences in detail later on. But let's try to understand. BA role has been really crucial in last 30-35 years, if you see, and it's really evolved to a level where we have specific dedicated BA teams. If you look at something like Infosys in New Jersey, TCS in New Jersey, they have around, I believe, if not mistaken, around 60 to 80 BAs. Just BAs, means their hat labels as a BA, business analyst, senior, junior, and so on and so forth, as per their grades and roles and responsibilities. So BA has been evolved in last 15 odd years, and now we have really specific BA. So if some CIO comes to your table and asks, can I get a BA? In good old days, PM used to really search for throughout the team, किसको requirement gathering आता है, किसको वो requirement बना सकता है, किसको requirement priorities अच्छी तरह आता है, कौन scope बना के दे सकता है मेरे को. Otherwise, he'll sit with the product owner and bang his head. Means he'll park all his current duties and sit with the product owner and bang his head on requirement elucidation, requirement scoping, building these type of specification from whatever vision he has, because this is really heavy work. Believe me, this is really crucial, and specific skills are required to execute these kind of duties, right? So I believe that
Yes.
you could understand now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So just give me a minute. I believe I'm trying to, how do I admit somebody? No, just give me a minute. I couldn't. Okay, add people. How to add people? Okay, there's somebody want to enter and I don't know. He's missing Devji. I don't know. Okay, let it be. So you understood the criticality of the overall BA, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you understand overall why BA role is really important and really, what you can say, crucial in these times. So that's the overall kind of what you can say positions we are in right now. Okay, is there any other question?
At least not now.
Okay, Shweta, we are good, right?
Sheetal, yes.
I'm extremely sorry for that. Pardon me, I'm a kinesthetic person, so I normally go by pictures and these things. Okay, and I can call you Sheetal and I can call you Aarti, right?
No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for that. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, we have a new additions. Okay. Hi, Kamaran. Hi, Kamaran. Pardon me, I don't know what happens. I couldn't admit you before because I was in a flow of training and I didn't see the request and it got
No, that's totally fine. I understand. You have
sure. So
yeah, it's actually in the course of delivering.
Let me walk you through overall, whatever we were doing, earlier. A quick overview. I'm Ravindra Pandey. You can call me Ravindra. We had a look at overall the scope and modalities of a BA, typical BA. We tried to this is our me Ravindra Pandey and Richa Saxena. We are the two trainers who is going to train this BA, QA and Scrum track. We are basically going by BA book. We are trying to adopt quite a best practices in BA, and we had an introduction. We had a definition from BA book. We understood that. Then we understood the roles and titles of BA, what hats BA wore, and what are the other roles which are basically overlapping with BA. So a product owner can be BA, a business architect can be BA as well. But nowadays we have specific team members called BA. So we have really selective team members who working as a specific BA. So now nowadays a PM or product owner looks at BA as a specific person with specific roles and responsibilities, specific tools understanding, specific inputs and outputs method as well. We'll have a look at that thing in detail today. So this overall cycle of BA. So he really wants to present and understand why do I want it, what are the needs, what are the conditions, what do I want means what business wants basically. So this is basically pertaining to the role of a typical BA in correspondence with the BA overall or organizational requirement. And then these are the Excel sheet. I believe you must have seen the introductory lecture. So I have explained each and every of these entities in detail in that lecture, right? And then this overall agenda of the BA track. So we are trying to understand the requirement, trace it out, maintain it out, prioritize the requirement, assess requirement change, approve requirements, how the scope flexibility works and requirement and scope. We discussed this thing in our first session, right? And then how the BA basically interacts with a different product manager. We've seen these roles and responsibility in the morning today. So we started from here basically. So what business analysts do with, let's say, product owner, we have business analyst, associate project how the overall roles also evolve. This also depicts the role evolution as well, for that matters. We understand analysts, what type of inputs we take, what type of outputs are expected of the BA. This is philosophical level. We'll see in details, afterwards. And then we understand overall how a BA should be careful in his day-to-day life. We understood the business communication, we understood the project communication, how he should work with overall business in the sense a product owner or a guy who basically sharing this vision with the BA. Then a project manager or a project implementer whom the BA is working on, what are the outputs and inputs of these things. We just had a look at overall interaction diagrams of a typical BA with product owner and product manager as well. Now we are going into the types of business analysts or the detailed techniques.
So,
Can
I just ask
do you have any
you a
question?
Like exactly the product owner, I understand the role of the BA, like requirement gathering thing for the development people, and
Okay.
then the role of the BA in the testing phase.
Right.
But besides that,
Uh-huh.
I have seen, like, I would not raise this question right now, maybe, but yeah, one thing that how much is the difference from a BA with the product owner is. So the product owner is not exactly the BA, right? But
No.
exactly,
Okay, product owner is a guy who basically generates the idea and put it on a table. Okay, let's say we've seen the example of order management system. Let's take an example of order management system. Okay, there's a online portal. Let's say Amazon. There was a CIO or there was a CEO who comes to your table as an BA, or comes with a PM to your table saying ki, Kamal, let's try to define a better order management system. You've seen Amazon, right? You used Amazon before.
yeah.
Okay, so as an BA, you need to understand what the CEO or CTO is expecting out of you. So you need to, what are the things you will do as a BA? There are a number of things. As a CEO, as a product owner, he is owner of product, he is owner of the idea. So if you have
Okay.
any contradiction, confusion with the overall analysis, you can go to product owner. Saying, boss, I believe red color suits to this screen, but tell me your vision on this. Like, is it really suitable, or do you think orange will look good, green will look good? This kind of scenario. I'm just taking raw sample whatever coming to my mind. So product owner is a person who creates the idea, who creates the vision. Analyst is a
Okay.
person who implements it or who try to work with project manager to implement it. So the vision has to be explained in the system requirement or functional specification and those documents. We'll see to that basically. Okay. So the product owner is a starter who is a visionary who basically develops this vision for the product, or he can be a business owner, or he can be a guy, he can be even project manager for that matters. Because nowadays even the educations need to understand the business specific implementation or business specific need or qualification of these needs, right? As we seen in BA responsibility, the qualification of need is a BA responsibility. So when I come to BA, he can give me the details why I should do it, why I shouldn't do it, and what's the really need of the business. Is it even define the priorities for him? Try to make it. Is it really need? Is it really cost effective right now? Because order management system for Amazon, to build a improved system for Amazon might at least take $100K, because if you look at the overall global deployment, if you look at the global reach of the solution, if you look at the overall overall scope of the solution, it really costly solution to improve the order management system in Amazon, as in portal Amazon, right? So try to understand the girth and the load of work on the BA for that matters. It's really a crucial company, so the load and the overall what I can say importance is at really great level. That's why I took that example. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to understand that when product owner is somebody who actually has a very good understanding with the business idea, and he knows what to exactly do and what to make.
Right.
So where's the need for the BA? Just to take the requirement and to create a scenario and the use cases. That's how it is. I have seen like many business analyst jobs there where they require some database modeling associated with that, and some BAs are required to know how databases are impacted when systems is changing. So from the perspective of organization, I see when an organization already has project manager who is executing the project, he has to have good understanding with the business case to then BA and then product owner. So from the business,
let me stop you there. Right. So we are talking about the evolution of processes. I just explained to Arati how the process has evolved. Let's take I'll repeat the sample. Let's take a sample of doctors evolving, the specialization of doctors evolving. If you look at 1960s, 70s, there were hardly 3 or 4 types of specialization in doctors. There could be some gynae, there could be some bone surgeon, and there could be some generic physicians, right?
Yeah.
And then it evolved. Like in late 80s, late 90s, we had ENT specialists, we have had specialists, you have artery specialists, and if you look at today, it's really evolved. We have around 36 to 39 different specialization as per your medical practice in the given region.
True.
Means in India, we have around 36. My mother is a MD, so that I can explain you in details what are the specializations as of today. So,
true.
You know this evolution, right? Same in terms of be it project management, be it product definition, be it a typical execution of an organization. That BA role has been evolved. So previously in 1960s, 70s, the BA could be product owner, as you greatly said. So if you have an idea, give me how to implement it. But if you today say similar thing to, let's say, Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, who comes with the idea of better organization system, he'll say, get off my office, right? Because as a typical BA, there are specific duties and roles have been defined. That's what we're trying to learn here. There are evolved at a level so that the BA's roles and responsibilities are crisply defined, the inputs and outputs. We'll have a look at that slide in a couple of minutes, basically. So now BA role has been evolved to a level where there are strict procedural guidelines. That's what we're trying to learn in this class. There are specific tool sets you're supposed to know, supposed to use. There could be some process and tools which an organization have been evolved much better, so they will teach you in induction. But the basic idea of BA and using something like Excel is normally expected after a typical BA. Or there are certain tool set, be it something like there are we'll come to that in time. To do certain analysis, be it something like fishbone analysis, be it something like pastel analysis. So we'll learn these things, tools and techniques in this training. That's why we are doing this training, to be cope up with the overall BS evolutionary or evolved tactics as of today. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's move on. Aarti, are we good? Sheetal, are we good? Okay, no question at this moment, right?
I have one more. I'm sorry about that.
Don't say sorry. See, we are here to learn.
Pastel analysis is actually something, my understanding was, that should be done by somebody who actually has a good understanding with the economic understanding and the sociological and technological.
I'll hold on to your question. There are 2 reasons. Right now, it's too much, what you can say, critical topic to discuss. Right now, we don't have the maturity to understand a typical tool, right? So I'll hold on to your question. And I'll answer all these questions, believe me. But let's, go on the flow, right? So, yeah.
Sure.
So there are different techniques or tools which a typical business analyst uses. If you could please mute, that would be really great help. Thanks a lot for that. So we are talking about what are the different type of analysis we can do on a typical given day. There could be various different labels, but we'll try to understand the current popular labels which we use. So there is a strategic business analysis, there is an analytical business analysis, and there is investigative business analysis, and overall closely working with PM. So even if there is no label, you are basically a good helping hand to the PM, or your crucial guy who builds the vision or who implements the vision for a PM, right? So these are the four different distinct types in the industry as of today. There could be some different label. If you know, put it on a table and we'll discuss them. Let's try to understand strategic business analysis. This goes to a level of organizational implementation or organizational change. So when a CIO comes to you saying, okay, I really need to understand how, let's say, how QA, quality assurance type of practices are you following in a given project, and a BA is responsible to answer this, a PM is responsible to answer this, but BA is indirectly is putting on the hat to explain an implementation in terms of processes. So that's how the strategic or the organizational improvement level questions normally come to BA with the through PM or through any other stakeholder for that matter. So whatever organizational changes you do, let's say from typically moving from CMM and ISO levels, right? So to move from a typical CMMI 3 to CMMI 5, the BA is the right person to understand and implement the need of templates, the need of process change, and plan the process change. So this is really a crucial time for a BA to understand strategic business analysis. So what are the organizational changes we want to implement, we want to bring in? Nowadays BA is responsible. So in this scenario, BA supersedes PMs quite a few times. Believe me, I've seen an organizations where we moved from CMM 3 to CMM 5. I took around 8 different organizations from CMM 3 to CMM 5. So I've seen this implementation. I have gone through this strategic business to analysis as is and to be. The gap analysis, that's what we call in normal industry, tactical practices, to do this gap analysis and lead the overall changes. So that's what we're talking about, strategic business analysis. Analytical business analysis, this is definitely a BA's hat, because BA is doing day in day out analysis throughout the organizations and how to get a better tool for a given scenario, be it something like services company, right? There are specific tools which we use from services industry. Specifically, this Fishbone goes really well, or the Microsoft Visio for that matters. Microsoft Visio is non-interactive, but there are various tools available for Fishbone analysis. We'll see to that in detail whenever we come across those tools, learning and implementation. But overall, doing analytical changes for a given vision or process change, that's what the BA does day in day out. So this is the prime responsibility. Strategic is basically comes to you due to evolution of overall project processes. Then investigative business analysis, these are what we call financial business analysts. Investigative in the sense you investigate the current scenario. This is specifically, as I told you, like financial thing. So whenever a product owner comes to you with a product idea, as we've seen the overall order management system, right? So how the order management system has to be improved? Is it really good to implement right now? Is it really cost effective to implement right now? Or are we just doing for the sake of मेरे को खुश दिया ही और मेरे को करना है? ऐसा नहीं होता है. So you need to understand the girth, the cost, the scenarios and importance of the overall implementation of the business idea. And this is what the business analysts do as of today. So today, if you look at stock markets, there are analysts. They call it financial analysts. They have certain tools. Specifically, they have certain customized developed tools. But we'll come to that also. We'll have a look at a couple of those tools and we'll try to discuss this out. But try to understand the investigation of a history at a much larger scale in this overall analysis. And we need to really understand the historical progress of a given solution or given management, right? So that's what we are talking about. Then of course we closely work with project management for all the needs in terms of analysis for a given tool implementation, to analysis of a vision, to analysis of a day-to-day status reporting, to analysis of different matrices to be implemented in a project. Matrices are basically the numbers we collect day in day out from a team member, from a stakeholder to make our product processes better day by day. This is how the typical evolution of a project management happens. So you're going to learn this project management evolution also as an BA, because BA is really getting much and much critical and importance in day-to-day life. There might be a time within, let's say, 10 to 15 years evolution, BA might be a person whom project manager reports to. This also happens in many service organizations or support organizations, because they calibrate the processes, they change or evolve the processes on weekly basis. Okay, so we'll try to understand day in day out. But have you understood the distinction between these four business analytics techniques and your types?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we'll go ahead basically. So how do we do it, right? So there are three different tactics which normally use. We have to document, of course, because there is a need of auditory fact whenever you comes to a change, because change is always obstacle, right? Let's say I drink tea every day. If somebody tells me, okay, from tomorrow you need to drink coffee, you don't have tea or you don't have access to tea, I'll obstruct, because that's a normal tendency of human, right? So even if you bring any change to a given organizations, there are quite a few people who normally obstruct. So you should have a different or distinct auditory fact to prove why and how you're going to put it to them. Why I should change from tea to coffee. Okay, this is quite raw example. I am just taking it for the supporting the fact how we need to have enough document or artifact to support these decisions, right? Then efficiency improvement. Even efficiency improvements also obstructed by many stakeholders. So we should have enough auditory fact or enough numbers with me, so that I can prove that with this change the efficiency will be in improvement. I might put them as less work, more output, or better output, and other qualitative measures. But yes, we need to really have those auditory facts in line to prove whatever I am suggesting as a business analyst. And of course, we need to suggest the tools. We need to provide the tools. Nowadays, there's a trend of open system. So we normally go on the net, find a tool. Basically, be it a IT company, be it a product company, be it a software or services company for that matters, we pull out a tool which is free for all. We'll going to have a look at open system tools in great depth wherever we do our workshops and training outputs as well. So, but overall, try to understand, as a BA, you are going to basically suggest the tool to the project management or the overall stakeholders in the company. So if you want to implement, let's say, DevOps tools, say there are around 16 odd DevOps tools, from which there are around 6 for use for BA, which are freely available. If you want to acquire support, you might pay something like $20 for a year or something like that. So they are really cheap, and it's really advisable to implement open system or free for all kind of tools. And that's what we do normally. So we need to understand and tell them why this tool, what are the advantages, how can the tool make your life easy. So this is a responsibility of BA overall, right? And this is what the targeted to achieve after this training. Okay, any confusion or contradiction at this part?
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah, go ahead please. Could you speak a little louder?
Sorry, is it audible now? Can I have a question?
Yes.
Yes. So you're mentioning of some of the tools. Like by tools you mean like tools for analysis, like personal analysis and all.
That's right. Tools for analysis.
Yes.
Right.
So these tools, let's say when we are done with our training, will we be able to justify to our employer that we need to do our business analysis career in our projects? And
yes, definitely, and that's the work of, that's the responsibility of a BA to justify or to make them justify with the artifact, with the different what you can say, different tools and not tools and techniques. You need to justify to the project management or to the organizational management, saying why we should go for this tool. That's the role.
And if a BA role needs the database modeling kind of thing, would you be explaining that thing? Like, will we be able to understand this by the end of the session?
I couldn't hear you. It's a WS modeling you're talking about?
Database modeling. Like as I was saying, like when one of the main role of the BA is to have the analysis of the impact on the system and overall the enterprise architecture.
Right.
The BA actually has to have an idea what are the changes that has to be carried out in the databases when the system is implemented, and then how the application will talk to the database.
Right, exactly.
What changes are required to be in the database. And so in that situation, a BA has to has to justify and explain this could be possible schema of the database, and now the recurrent schema of the database, which is called the database modeling, like data mapping and all that. So will we be able? Will we be training on this too? Or?
Yes, definitely. Okay, this is specifically a software solution BA type of role where he need to suggest to the architect how to improve the data connection. See, in a typical software product, we have a user interface, we have a business layer, and we have a DB layer. If I go by layman's term, I think everybody knows, right? So, it's BA's responsibility basically to understand the data modeling as well. If possible, in depth. So, if you typically apply for a IT, BA type of role, it is expected out of you to understand the data models also. We'll have a look at data models if the time permits. We'll also there's a agenda of a tool called ER diagrams, entity relationship diagrams, where
Yes.
we normally try to model database through that. It is there from last 40 odd years. So we'll try to go and understand that tool and its intricacy, how it works, and so on and so forth. So you'll get a hint of DB design and DB modeling. Yes, it's a part of training. That's true. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. That's definitely answers my
But yeah,
question.
this is specifically for IT domain, and the way we had planned this training is for overall all type of domains, be it logistic, be it service industry or support industry. So we'll have quite a few tools to look at. So might be, I think 10-15 minutes we'll spend on ER diagram. Let's see how overall progress took us as far as the time and scheduled share kind of scenarios. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll move on to next. Now let's try to get deep into the process. We now understood what does roles and responsibility, what are the different hats, whom we normally support day in day out. Now we are taking a deep dive in overall business analysis process, right? So what does a BA's typical understanding, right? Let me ask a question. Arti, could you take a minute and try to share what type of expectation, or rather what type of what you can say span of work a typical BA will be? Could you please share in your word?
So basically BA BA will do analytical and technical works and present with the tools. I'm not able to explain, sorry, but I know what is BA.
You explained it quite well. That's the gist of it. Sheetal, could you please put in your words? I want to understand from you the rules and please go ahead.
Could you please ask me again? What are you asking me?
Okay. What are the different expectation for a BA in terms of procedural or takeaways? क्या करना चाहिए BA ने?
He has to make decisions. He has to do the planning of the workflow. Like you said, I had been through the workflow model, and he has to do the entire process, budgeting and everything. Like last time I said, that's what I got to know about.
Great. You are an output person. Means you take care of. अरे मेरे को दिखाओ ऐसा क्यों करना है? I like that thing. Okay, great. I was basically asking about the process, but yeah, you
I have
told me about the results.
I know, and this thing is slowly getting. I'm able to get it because yet I'm not into. Yeah.
Any confusion, difficulties, just knock me. Means I would be really, because we want to grow together, right? We want to understand together. So there's nothing like he or she is learning faster than me. There are certain persons who are basically into this, so they understand in really depth. Means look at Cameron. He worked as a BA, so he had quite a.
Today I'm actually a bit more confused with Cameron's questions because I'm trying to understand what he asked, and that process is going on while you are explaining. So it's like a double thing going on in my mind.
Yeah, don't feel like kind of leaved out or something, or you can just pull me down, or we could discuss it together. See, this is all about understanding the process. This is all about learning these things, right? So you need to be really on your toes. just knock me whenever you feel like I'm going too fast, as we discussed in the morning, right? So
Yeah.
stop me then and there, and I'll explain in detail. Don't worry about left out or something like that, right?
Sure. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thanks.
So now we go into process. Kamran, could you please explain in your words what do you feel about the analysis as in process,
Analysis as in process.
right?
That's exactly your question. Is that I
No,
have
no,
to
the
tell you what?
expectation. Yeah. No, your idea of expectation from BA.
Oh, my expectation from the BA in the IT infrastructure environment is that just to mention my thoughts to my colleagues, and
Yes, sure.
I want to excuse if I'm creating confusion. So a BA is a person who bridges the gap between the technical team, the developers, and the business. The problem is that business don't understand the technical language, and the technical folks, the developer, they do not know how to create, what changes have to be made, what code has. They know how to write the code, but they need to know what the functionality of the application has
Right.
to be, right?
Bang on.
And
Very right.
it's actually the job of the BA to have a very good understanding from the business,
Perfect.
from the perspective of the technical person, that what questions they might ask for them to be able to understand, to write the perfect code, so there's no defects, there's no bugs. And then when they speak to the basically the developers, they should be the person that developers can come and say, hey Cameron, like this application, this is doing okay, your system charges the fee of, let's say, $35 as a suspension fee, but let's say the account suspension before this period, how much fee will you charge? So now, because this is the business rule, so
That's
you are
right.
the man who knows all the business rule, who should know how the system will work, how the function, what the functionality will be, and then you have to make your documents, and your documents when you
very rightly said.
yeah, all the yeah.
Great. Kamran, thanks you for that. And Sheetal, just to come back to you, you've seen this definition, right? This is for a specific implementation of a software product execution. So he's talking about an exceptional idea came from a developer or came from a let's say ground level worker saying, "Ki boss, please guide me how this level works in the overall gamut of bird's eye view or gamut of solution or overall plan of solution. How this can be implemented to make it better, to make it evolved, right? So this is how it works. I don't want to go into nitty gritty of. He really explained it well. Sheetal,
Yes.
have you
I was able to
understood what he
understand
had
very well.
Come again,
Yes.
please.
I was able to understand very well what Cameron has
Okay,
explained.
great. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot. So this is basically a typical, BA day-to-day, life explained by him. It's really thanks, Cameron. Thanks a lot for that. So
Thanks,
this is how
folks.
we're going to go. This is how we're going to learn, right? And it was really on day-to-day works of a BA. Thanks for that. Let's come to the overall, training and presentation. I'm really happy to have you, Cameron. Believe me.
Thank you so much, folks. Thank you so much for
Sure.
having
And
me with you guys.
see, we are here to learn together. We are here to understand the tools. We are here to learn the width of the BA. Now, as a software, expert, you are really great, and I think you have been in those environments. So your inputs are really crucial and important for this training, so that others will also learn. I am
Thank you
also
so
software,
much.
I am also software solution architect, CIO, CTO, and all those things. But day to day, I tend to go more wide in terms of domain. So we might segregate from a product domain, service domain, support domain, and of course IT domain is really crucial, because if you look at the overall New Jersey type of area where you want to get the job interview or start the work, IT is the best domain. So IT domain will overall dominate the training. That's what I'll say. But I tend to go away from that just to predominantly make sure, because as of today IT is really taking a hit in terms of job requirement. So we might land up with banking or brokerage firm, financial firm, or a product company for that matter, be it a software product as well. So I try to have this training with a very wide lens, or execute this training with a really wide lens as far as domain goes. Okay, so thanks a lot for that. Let's go ahead. So we are trying to understand the processes now. Now we are going deep into the business analysis as in process, what is expected, how we should do it, inputs and outputs. So as the sample or as the example given by Cameron explains you need to understand the complete architecture or the complete solution or the bird eye view of a typical business product or project or support, whatever you're going. This is a requirement for a BA. So whenever because the suggestions should come out of you, the improvements will be asked to you. Is it feasible? Is it not? And so on and so forth. So you need to understand the product and the project in depth. So you might not get a question to you on day one on the job, but let's say 2 weeks down the line, or I don't know how the organizational induction process of a BA defines you. There's an induction process for a BA, because you need to understand the actual implemented processes, actual implemented product familiarization, or the process or service familiarization is really crucial for a business analyst. So they will teach you, they will make you learn, they will give you all the documents. The CIO will sit with you, the PM will sit with you to make you understand where your inputs are really needed and really required. But for that, it's really crucial to understand that you as an BA should have a complete information about the business, product, project, support, executions, and organization as a whole, as an policy improvement, strategic improvement as well, right? So these are really crucial 5 points we are going to discuss. I want to go really slow. I want you to understand each and every point, right? So, and there's a crucial focus requires or attention in details needed for each and every processes, each and every project, and each and every support, because you are going to suggest the improvement, you are going to suggest the evolutionary practices for a given project, support, or service. So try to understand the importance of a BA. Try to understand the overall responsibility he or she is carrying day in day out, right? And then the BA are basically instrumental in defining the scope, describing the requirements, as we see, defining the overall auditory facts to implement the said improvement or changes. Describe the requirements correctly is really crucial for a BA. That's the important part of job. We'll see different templates, we'll see different tools, how to basically share the requirements, how to basically present the requirement to the stakeholder in the best possible scenario, best possible tools for a particular domain as well, right? So we're going to learn that overall. And also getting approval on requirement, as I told you, right? It's really crucial for a BA to understand and get the requirements approved from a stakeholder, be it a CIO, be it a PM, or be it a PMO. So we're going to have a look at all these stakeholders in detail one by one throughout this training. But getting approval from the typical organizational next hierarchy is crucial for a BA, because after approval you only start execution. So approval is required, and approval is really crucial factor in BA's day-to-day job. And there are changes as we now implement agile methodology. Richa Saxena is a trainer for Agile Scrum. She will guide you overall how much the criticality of flexibility in Agile project methodology, and we need to learn that, and we need to implement that in BA practices as well. So we'll have a look at this thing in detail in in a couple of new next sessions as well, for that matters. So have you understood these 5 requirements for a typical business analysis process? Any confusion?
That's totally fine.
Okay. Aarti, Shitu, could we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Now, business analysis process as an execution, right? So we need to basically plan the business analysis process as a typical BA. This is your responsibility to plan your process, to basically build some planning template. You can use something like a typical to-do list, for that matters. Like whenever I start, I need to do 6-7 different things to do these things. What are the tentative schedule, what are the tentative timelines which are I'm looking at, who are the persons I'm going to work with, and so on and so forth. So you need to plan your overall BA process. You need to define the scope. Scope definition is really important. We'll have a look at each of these items in next slides, but try to understand what you mean by actually BA process and how our elements needs to be planned by a DA, right? Elicit requirement, how to qualify requirement, how to validate requirement, how to prioritize the requirement, how to analyze the requirement themselves. Means if somebody says I need an order management system, or I need an HR system in our organization, so it's your role to tell what is inclusive of those requirements, right? So HR system can include something like attendance system, payroll system, leave management system, and so on and so forth. But there are scenarios, or there are universities where you need to include the library management system, you need to include domain specific business entity as well. So it's BA's responsibility to understand what are the different scope or exclusion or inclusion of a requirement as well. That's the BA's responsibility. And then document these things, build auditory fact. This is really crucial because nowadays everything is supported by auditory fact. So you need to build those facts, you need to build those documents, you need to build those images for yourself and for presenting to others as well, right? And I'll move ahead. Now, overall, let's try to understand how requirement, because requirements are really a crucial part of BA. That's where the BA's life starts. Whenever vision or a requirements comes at your doorstep, it can be as simple as an email coming from a CIO, or it can be as simple as a project management coming to your table and saying, okay, XXX, let's start working on new order management plan, because PMO has given me in direction. So please present me what has to be included, what has to be excluded, and so on and so forth. Now, typically BA is kept apart, or what you can say, excluded from the technological implementation. But there are certain IT companies that BA are the part of overall document implementation and document in evolution as well. So let's try to understand in a short of those things. So let's try to understand the envisioning, the idea building of overall requirement life cycle, right? So who are the executive, who are the stakeholders, what are the ROI, what is the return I'm going to get by implementing, let's say, this order management system, what are the business objective, that we has to understand, build these three elements from envisioning, from the vision of a stakeholder who comes to you. So if a PM or a CIO comes to you, you will build like who are major executive in basically sharing this vision. It can be a one, it can be many. Then what are the ROI? Who is the product owner who is basically trying to build a budget or trying to spend so many dollars to build this vision or mission? So how we can scope it out? Yeah,
I have a question here. So what exactly is the point in the project life cycle when BA's role starts actually? My understanding is, so the project actually initiation, let's say actually there is a business idea, and that like from the software development life cycle perspective, so like there's a conception phase. So of course in the conception phase, business analyst is there. But the thing is, in project life cycle, because before business analysts come into existence or come into play, the project document is already prepared. And when if it is already prepared,
okay, you're talking about typical software life cycle, right? We are trying to understand the overall product company, services company, and support company as well.
Okay, sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. See, we are understanding, right? You've seen software development in there, so that's really understandable. See, okay, just to add to that, if you look at a typical project manager, right? There's no start day and end day for a PM. Something like that. There's no start day and end day for a BA. Okay. So BAs are normally allocated from envisioning or visional phase. BA can be allocated in between as well. Like if I need to really improve the product, I'll hire a couple of BAs to help the architect to build a better product. This happens. So at that time, as you said, there are documents available, there are architectural diagrams available, there are complete, let's say, sequence diagram, entity diagrams, and all those type of designery documents available to BA. But for a typical, I'm taking difficult scenario. A CIO or a PM comes to you, means as in BA, you are working on a table, and he comes to you and saying, okay, boss, now I need to build a new order management system. So how to cope with those things? Right? So that's what I'm trying to explain. So I took a bit difficult example so that it's better to understand. Okay?
Okay, sure.
No problem. And questions are always welcome. Don't say sorry for asking. It's basically that's where we are here for, right?
No, that's totally fine. I was basically trying to segregate the roles of a strategic BA and the BA who actually basically works in the software development environment, where he actually has to gather the functional requirements.
I completely understand your position. Please don't worry. Okay. So now, so we understood the envisioning, right? So there are 3 critical targets as far as envisioning for a BA goes, right? Now we're going to elicitation of the requirements and analyzation of a requirement. Now comes a planning phase where PM a typical BA sits with a PM, sits with other stakeholders who are going to implement this idea. So their requirement elicitation, you do these 4 different type of techniques. There are interview techniques. There's JAD, they call it JAD. Let's not go into the labels. You basically take a seminar and try to explain and try to understand answers as well, and then learn from. These are what they call workshops. Then prioritization of a requirement, elicitation and prioritization is a BA responsibility. We've seen that. Getting approval, that's sign off, is also BA responsibility. So you do these things and then you start analyzing these things. So you build some models, you build some requirement diagrams, you build some fishbone diagram, you build some use cases, sequence diagram, and so on. So we will have look at these tool sets in details as the training progresses. Then you build some business rules as well, so that these rules are common throughout the execution life cycle. So you are basically working with the PM and the designers and the architect to execute this plan, to build this plan and plan the execution as well. Planning execution is PM's responsibility, but the BA's inputs are really crucial nowadays. Be it a software company, be it a product company, or be it a services company. Okay? Any confusion in the understanding planning phase?
No.
Okay, great. I'll move it.
So this planning phase is actually the planning phase for the BA, or it's a software development life cycle?
For everybody. Good question. Okay.
Sorry, I'm actually. I just wanted to make sure that my understanding is clear.
Sure, definitely.
Maybe it's not the right time for my.
Nothing to be sorry about. I can understand you, and I'm laughing because I was expecting this. Believe it.
No, honestly speaking, on a fair note, my understanding, I normally perceive things from SDLC basically.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Believe me. And we need some participant like you. Believe me. I need more active participants because this makes our life. See, we are touching quite a few other part of the training overall.
And that if you allow me to say so, because you are appreciating some of my maybe invalid or stupid questions, I just wanted to say
invalid. Okay, let me give me. There's nothing invalid, or I'll say so. Okay. Please hold on. Like I told you, right? So
I just wanted you to touch a basic understanding what exactly the process itself is, how to define a process, because the business analyst actually, he has to have a good understanding with the process. And
yes, we are talking about the process of requirement lifecycle right now.
But or rather,
if you pardon me of saying, we are trying to understand the process of execution overall for a typical BA. It starts with the requirement lifecycle.
I understand. I just wanted to tell my team, like we all folks, what is the process. I just have had this question in my interview somewhere. So somebody else said, okay, Kamran, what exactly is the process? So what is the process? What do you think what process is?
You've seen this? There are 5 elements.
Yeah.
This is the end-to-end process documented as per BA book. There's a BA book for PMI Institute. This is what they say.
Okay. No, this is the business analyst process. But if somebody asks you, what is the process?
What is a process? In general, in life, there's a process for tea making, there's a process of coffee making. Process is basically trying to understand what you're trying to do, how to execute it the best possible way, how to build some qualitative marks. Like if I make a tea for myself, कितना कड़क टी है? मैं आधे घंटे पानी उबाल सकता हूँ, या 10 मिनट पानी उबालना काफी हो जाएगा, या 2 मिनट पानी उबालना काफी हो जाएगा, फिर चाय पत्ती डालना है, उसको कितना काला करना है, ये मेरे को पता है, बिकॉज मैं बना, right? Pardon me for Hindi. I believe everybody understands Hindi, right?
Yeah, exactly. We understand Hindi.
Sheetal, Aarti, you understand Hindi, right?
Yes.
Because this is our. I'm talking about very crude idea. And I have to specifically take this example because I work with Grady Butch, the co-founder of UML in St. Louis for around 3 years. So the best work project example is making tea. Believe me, and it will come throughout our training. Making tea is a project,
Yeah.
right? So try to understand if you really have any confusion in terms of project, product, or whatever you are. And even making tea is a product execution as well, because at the end you drink the tea, you utilize that product by yourself, right? So making tea is really great example for whenever you're trying to understand any life cycle. So there's an envision, there's a plan, there's a develop, there is a launch, there's a measure, and again we come to envision, and this is how we evolve. So making tea, अगर मैंने चाय बनाया, आज मैंने let's say society tea use किया, कड़क बना क्या? हाँ, कड़क बना, लेकिन और थोड़ा कड़क चाहिए. Then I'll go to the market and try to find a kadak tea powder or a stronger tea powder, right? ये होता है, ये अपन दिन में दिन करते हैं. ये मेरे को इस तरह समझता है. Sorry, go ahead please. Do you want to say something?
No. I'm just saying yes. I understand it well.
So you're understanding the making tea process as a product or as a project, right?
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. I'm too much into like. Sometimes I get into like these definitions. So please excuse me my way of approaching this. So
sure, definitely.
Yeah.
I would really love to share. I would really love to share BA book with you. I don't know if you can see the BA book is open in the background. Means I was really improving my PPT with BA book, because that's the Bible which normally used specifically for software product or project or support companies. So even this diagram is I've improved it. I'm a founder of India Training Services, so I've improved this diagram to a level, and I'm basically getting patented of this diagram, but it takes some time. So this is basically a kind of overall crucial life cycle of a requirement for a BA. That's what the diagram is all about. Okay, so whenever you have a confusion in terms of any project execution or a product execution, just think about making tea or making coffee, whatever you're good at, and how you improve, right? Because we improve. मेरे को कभी कड़क चाहिए, कभी अदरक चाहिए, कभी इलायची चाहिए, कभी मेरे को सिर्फ क्या बोलते ना लेमन ग्रास या टी लीव्स आता ना उसका चाय चाहिए. So I improve it, I adapt to that and I make it, right? ठंडी में मेरे को अदरक का चाय चाहिए. So that's how the products, support and services improve day in day out. And if you're not improving, then you're wrong, or you're basically stagnant. So you lose interest. तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि मेरे को चाय ठीक नहीं लग रहा आज. So this type of evolution also included or could be or must be included in the life cycle, right? So let's go on planning. So we've seen planning phase. I believe there are no confusion or what you can say difficulties in understanding, right?
Yes.
Let's go to the development phase. So development, what we try to do, we try to transition development and testers. So we make them enable for a given product and services, because I know the bird's eye view, I know the requirements. We enable them, we transition them from transition them to the overall execution. And then what we change, we reprioritize the team as per the effort needs, as per the schedule need. This is basically done by PM, but BA can do this. So this is kind of optional. Even document updates as a project goes is optional. For document updates as well, requirement lifecycle is crucial for BA. And then there is impact analysis or gap analysis, whatever you want to call it. We own these documents. These gap analysis or requirement analysis or impact analysis, the ownership is with BA. Okay, and PM is a kind of assisting role. And these documents are for overall project life cycle, product life cycle, or support life cycle. Okay. Everybody understood these things?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead. I would really love to understand your, encouragement or saying yes, because I'm really kind of person who normally would like to check in between. Okay. So yeah, come. You are asking something. Please go.
May I ask a question here?
Yeah, sure.
Like this. Let's say this is the project requirement life cycle. It's just life cycle of a requirement, right?
Right.
So can we call it? It's a functional requirement whose life cycle it is, right? So we envisioned it, and then we planned it, and then we developed it, and we launched it, and we measured it. So in the measurement phase, I see that we have evaluate its satisfaction, right? So how do we evaluate the satisfaction of the requirement?
Good question. Really best question as a BA. And thanks for that. Okay. As far as measure of satisfaction go, right? So we have an auditory process. I'll come to that. This will come in measures basically. How do you make sure that whatever document as a requirement document or change document or gap analysis created by BA and who is normally gets satisfied? I believe PM or the product owner is the right person to give you satisfaction or give you feedback on that. For that we have adoption analysis and we have survey.
Okay, so for us to calculate ROI,
satisfaction in measures, if you can see.
Okay, so for us to calculate ROI, it's us like the BAs who have to do the KPIs.
Boss, please don't jump. Please don't jump. Let's take it in a sequence now.
No. Oh, sorry. I was just asking that is it our duty? Is it the business analyst duty, right?
Yes, whatever you are seeing on the screen is basically, if not owned, but at least supported by PA.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So let's not jump because everybody else has to be understood, right?
Yes, sorry.
We have to take them with us. Okay. So I believe you understood the develop part of it. Now let's go to the launch part.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No. Again, nothing to be sorry. You are always welcome. But let's try to go with the process. Okay. So there's a launch part of it. So there's a deploy. Now what we've developed, we've created the product, we've created the support, we have created the service, and now we're going to launch it, we're going to release it. Okay. Now let's try to understand what are the crucial elements here. It's deployment. Yes, deployment. So how are we going to train the users? How are we going to train the overall? As I told you about testing.
That was my question.
Let me explain and then you ask question. Okay. Okay. So in launching phase, the BA's responsibility is basically creating or overseeing these training materials. This is also again organizational processes or organizational policies, how the BA should or must not work. So this again depends on organization. If he wants to be an owner of training materials, the BA, or if they hire a specific training trainers or mentors. This happens in many organizations. Their BA are the basically mentors for the training, and they create this training material, they create the training execution plan, they actually support PMs or the product owner in cutover plan. Cutover means just a website. If I'm releasing a website, what is what's a go live day? There's something called go live day. So if I'm launching something like Amazon, there's a day, let's say 7th October 2020 is my go live day. So that time I'll cut the ribbon and saying, okay, now this is available to the users. So that's what the cutover plan is. So my cutover plan is basically having this day. This is really crucial milestone for a product, right? For a project, that could be the end day where the project move from a development to support phase, right? There's a distinctive milestone. That distinctive milestone is what you can say cutover planning, cutover executions, and cutover or switchover plan. In sometimes label can change, but overall I believe you got the idea what do you mean by launching. So these are the basically crucial duties, and there's a verification and validation duty to oversee the release life cycle is BA's responsibility. How we can move from a development to release phase, what are the release notes, how they can be audited, how they can be certified, because BA certification for a release note is important. We're going to have a look at release note in depth afterwards, because this is really crucial part of a typical IT project, product or service. To understand the release note, what are the auditory facts to be supported, what are the auditory facts to be checked, and how a BA can build this checklist by itself. We'll see to that also. Okay, then comes some measures. Now whenever you release these things, there has to be measured. We need to measure the efficiency. We need to understand the efficiency. We need to understand how best, better, and next time even better I can do. So there are certain parameters which we normally do as in BA, right? I'm talking about BA and overall what he's need of the execution. So let's talk about measures. So there's how to evaluate satisfaction. So we took survey in the sense we sit with product owner, project owner, or CIO or PM, and trying to do a survey. Let's say I have released my T to let's say 5 different stakeholder. they are drinking tea. Then I'll sit with member one, saying कि कैसा लगा तुमको चाय? कड़क है, ठीक है, शक्कर ठीक है, इलायची चाहिए, लवंग चाहिए, चाय पत्ती चाहिए, क्या चाहिए? This way I'll evolve my product, I'll evolve my documents, I'll evolve my even documentary facts for that matters. That's the responsibility of BA. Adoption analysis. So if you release that order management life cycle, is it getting adopted? How many users have been increased? Are there any complaints? Are there any bugs? How many bugs are there? Are like 10, 20? Is it okay, or do we need to really stop the release and put it to the development board? This decision BA plays a crucial part. He works with the PM because PM is the authority to stop the release, stop the go live, or pull back the go live. The labels can be anything. Don't worry about the labels, but BA plays really a crucial part in building these adoption analysis. And then of course ROI. BA is not owner of ROI, but BA helps the overall team to build this ROI report, return on investment, right? We are talking about return on investment. So whatever BA or the team has been suggested, let's pay $10 million in building new order management system. Is it really utilized properly? Are we really adapted to the requirements the business would have given to me, given to a BA, given to the project, given to a product or support? Are we in line with the key point indicators, KPIs? How the success metrics look like? Success metrics are basically the numbers which we are receiving from team day in, day out. This can be from product, day-to-day status reporting. This can be on something like number of lines of code written. This can be on something like number of pains I made or started making after cutoff or after launch. If it's a pain production company, or actual cost and benefit analysis also. This is not a responsibility of a BA, but BA plays a very crucial part in building these artifacts or building these processes. Okay, now we've discussed about these points. Is anybody have any questions, difficulties, or confusions?
Yeah, I want to ask this phase, which is the launch phase. The launch phase has the because after development, my understanding was before launch we have to have testing, but I see that the testing goes with the deployment. So my understanding is the testing has to be before deployment, and all the phases of the testing from QA to any like production validation or BRT or UAT.
You're very right. You're very right. Yeah. See, we've clubbed the QA/QC track with this training just to understand this. What are you trying to say? Okay, the testing start with the development, or rather test cases building start with the planning in a typical IT scenario.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
So this testing can overlap 3 phases in this overall plan, develop and launch, right? So you're right for over what I can say typical software executions. About a typical something like product company, let's say a pain making company, the testing starts with development. So there's a QA department. So whenever we create pain or we modulate those pain, it goes to quality department and they'll check it. So they build some report, right? And then they in a launch I'll define if I have to scrap or I need to go live. So this is basically overall what I can say overlapping plan. You couldn't really categorize testing in just launch phase. I mentioned it launch because that's where the reports are needed. The results are needed in the launch phase. That's why I mentioned it there.
Okay. Thank you. One more.
Go ahead.
One, and I just wanted to have a better understanding for myself. Like this phase, this procurement life cycle phase. So every phase, let's say envision and then plan and then develop and launch and measure. It looks like there are always some artifacts which are before the phase ends have to be a takeaway our business analyst as a documentary artifact. So can we possibly discuss this thing that let's say every phase, what are the takeaways of a BA in terms of document, or what is the outcome of that phase? Let's say envision phase, once this phase ends up, I should have, let's say, this document, maybe project summary, understanding with this and this, or maybe.
Yeah, could you see this screen right now?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
see
can
the
see
screen
that.
right now?
Yeah, yeah.
These are the outputs expected. This is like 6 slide down the line. You'll come there, don't worry.
Okay.
Any other question? Shitu madam, Aarti madam?
No, nothing
No.
as of now.
Okay, so you understood this, right? We'll revisit this slide throughout our training because this is what really crucial and really good slide, believe me. Okay, and we might make this slide better, or we might improve this slide for our reference depending upon our implementation as well. Okay, this is a slide you normally keep it on your desktop or near your workstation, so that कभी भी मैं रेफर सकता हूँ, अरे ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि मेरे सर पे देके मारा है, ये भी होता है, right? So
will you be sending?
Would you?
sorry,
Just,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just wanted to know, would you share these slides, PPTs?
Yeah,
with us?
definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Let me, I don't want to steal surprise from you, so let me complete, whatever slide these are, and then I'll share with you.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, just before, it's good that you brought it up. I would really love to, share PM book, BA book with you, or could you can download it from the net itself. So if you want me to share with you, could you please, include your email addresses in chat box so that I can share PM book with you and you can start reading on that. Your PM book is kind of Bible overall. It's around how many? It's around 500 odd pages, but it's really a good read. Start reading whenever you have time. I'm not saying reading everything is important because we are going to go through those in our training. But this is overall, 2 weeks what we should learn. We must learn, frankly speaking. So, please put in your email address if you want to get this document from me. You can freely download it from the net by itself. It's available. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. We have a couple of minutes more, right? It's almost 8 o'clock Indian time, and I believe 10:30 your time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we can go for around 5-10 minutes more, right? Because we are really lagging in terms of progress as of today. Okay, let's start. So what are the tools we do? How we do the overall requirement gathering and how we can do it the best possible way. Okay, so there's something called brainstorming. You sit with the project owner, you sit with the PM who basically get the requirements to you. Do a brainstorming. This is thinking, improving, and building or clarify details on these opportunities or this vision who are brought to you, right? So there's a kind of process called brainstorming. You analyze the document. If you got a document, if the person is available, you can do a brainstorming with him. You can do a document analysis with him, or you can have a support group or focus group who work with you. Let's say if you don't have a stock market, domain experience, right? So how do we do these things? Request product owner or request PM to have a supporting SME. It's called, subject matter expert to help you to build this document, to help you to build this, requirement illustration, to help to build better requirement or qualitative requirement. So this is what we do normally. So it's also part of overall, BA to require help, additional help if required. And then we go to a interface analysis, how to build better UI, what type of user groups am I supporting for this product or the service, and so on and so forth. And then also interviewing, it's same as brainstorming, but interviewing is basically a one-way process. So you normally interview stakeholders, what they want, what was the overall background of the given vision, mission, and why users are critical, what are the set of users are going to use this product, and so on and so forth. So these type of interviewing techniques also used for a requirement gathering. Then BA builds an observations, a requirement by passive observation. So you normally go on a shop floor. If it's a product improvement type of idea, you go on a shop floor. Like I was there for Procter and Gamble in Cincinnati and Cape Girardeau, that's near St. Louis plant, and we really build a good gap analysis or passive observation documents, so that whatever matter has to be calibrated or took as an effective measures for improving the processes, that's also BA's responsibility. Okay, and there are surveys and questionnaires which we can use overall, like to sit with group of guys, do some surveys, if we are like they are staying in different countries, different continent, you can have an online survey or questionnaire also release to them and request them to fill in up. This is normally used today's. This is really latest technique which we use, that whatever data is given to me or supplied to me or submitted to me, I analyze even through computers or even through various machine learning softwares, so that whatever came to me, I can build a really great qualifying requirement document or requirement gathering process. And then prototyping is basically building proof of concept. So if I'm working on a robotics, could you please mute yourself? Okay, so if I'm building something like a robot or a new system which is not built before, I build with a small, let's say 10% or might be 2 or 3% of a what you call solution, a part of solution called proof of concept, POC. That's a normal technique we use in software industry or some of the other industries as well for that matter. So prototyping is really great technique. This is also evolved throughout the line. Let's say if you're building something like a new robot or new machine learning or new AI type of product, then proof of concept is really plays a crucial part in actually qualifying the requirement, right? And all this collection goes in a document called functional requirement document. We'll have a look at the documents needed for the overall processes in depth in our next class, and try to understand what are the different documents. We've seen a glimpse, but now we go in detail, like how the functional requirement specification document formed, how the system requirement documentation is formed, what are the actual points which are owned by BA, which are owned by PM, how these documents come together as in path or execution methodology for a given process, product or services. Functional requirement document is really crucial document, which is a formal statement of a given product, service or support functional requirement. This is really crucial, and there are some different labels to this document, but this is the document which is basically can't be ignored by even Agile's lesser documentation methodology as well. So this is really crucial, and this gives an exact idea about the product manufacturing process update or the modification or evolution process as well. We will have a in-depth look at this document at a later stage. Okay, and there are quite other artifacts as well. Now, how we do a requirement elicitation? We can take a notes with all these 7 or 8 tools we've seen in requirement gathering. We be creative, we build some images, we build some models, we have some annotation to the models, we build the requirements in a functional specification document. We really interview more if we felt a need for as in BA. We build out a task or overall segregation of modules on a top level, because we know the bird's eye view, we know the parts, the fitment and overall environment, and we take the necessary approval. This is overall the process of requirement elicitation for a typical BA, right? Any confusion, difficulties at this moment?
No, that's okay. I was just wondering, like, let's say if you are into the requirement gathering phase, and then you have to know, of course, there are a few people you have to come into contact, like a product owner. So other than if you have to spot who are the real stakeholders for specific requirements, what is the best way to approach it, and like who is gonna guide you? The product owner is gonna guide you for that specific requirement. You have to go to this stakeholder or what?
Okay, how could I put it? See, who is going to guide who is basically depends on particular scenario rather than a typical what you can say. See, we've seen these many techniques, right? And there are different set of peoples we are talking to or we are interacting with. So in brainstorming, I have a product owner sitting across, so I can sit with him and get these things clear. Or in terms of survey and questionnaire, I will include those questionnaires and try to get an answer. If not, then I'll contact them afterwards also. And if there's a scenario of something like building a new product where there are lots of variables at play, I'll have a POC and ask different technology SMEs to help me in those POC. Okay, what I would really love to guide you on this, because you can have a good look at YouTube video of building a dog robot by Boston animatic Boston Boston. I think there's a company called Boston Robotics, which is now owned by Google. They've acquired this thing in 2016. This is really good video of building a dog robot by Boston Robotics. Have a look at that video, so you'll understand how the overall product evolution or product vision understanding does in a distributed environment nowadays. Okay, so have a look at that. We'll discuss that in the next training. Oh wait, about the next training, could we sit on your Saturday evening? Do you have time at the same time? Could we? I don't know about your engagement. We have planned on we have planned on now on your Monday evening. But could we see sit on Saturday evening for similar 1.5 hour? Because I believe today we have took quite a lot of time in explaining and understanding, which is required. I am not what you can say denying that, but let's try to put some more efforts in basically get the overall training on track. Could we sit on your Saturday evening same time? Aarti?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, Sheetal? Sheetal, are you available on Saturday evening? Same time?
Yeah. Okay.
How about you, Kamal?
Yeah, should be fine. I'm not sure, but it should be fine. I will manage somehow.
Sure, no problem. So once I get a confirmation from Devji, I'll email it to you as well. But as of now, let's do it as in fixed on Saturday evening your time. Okay?
Okay.
Same time and same meeting. Okay. Let's move ahead. So we understood this. We understood elicitation. Now this is a kind of really moving in depth in detail for typical BA's roles and responsibilities. Now we need to understand what are the inputs as in typical BA takes, what are the tasks he performs, and what are the outputs, right? So let's try to understand the inputs. We really build requirements or the needs for a given objectives for a given support product or services. Be it IT company, be it a pen manufacturing company, be it something like making a tea day in day out. So we need to understand the needs. We need to understand the overall performance objectives to qualify these needs, to elicit these needs, to build whatever required to get this executed, right? So these are the inputs a normal BA takes. What are the tasks he performs? He performs plan business analysis approach. He builds approach for himself. He plan stakeholder engagement with all these different what I can say methodologies. He planned this thing on his own. He built the business analysis governance. Governance is basically monitoring and execution, right? So that thing which is a responsibility of BA, he does that. He planned analysis information management. What are the information he got? He manages that. Like whatever plan he built, he kept it on his desk and try to execute according to it. Then he engages stakeholder to build a better vision, to qualify the needs and the objectives detailed in later stage. He planned the governance overall. He built this information management and identify the business analysis performance improvement as well. So it is BA's responsibility to improve his own documentation and his own evolution processes. And as an output, there's a business analyst. What are the output expected out of a typical BA? His approach, which has to be published with a critical stakeholder, whatever organizational policy defines. So if an organizational policy says, boss, whenever you as to a BA, whenever you ready with your plan, ready with your business analyst approach, share with these 6 people. So you need to share, email, or talk to them and share with them. Then you need to build your stakeholder engagement approach. Like all these modalities we've seen, BA has to decide which modality he's going to use and then present those approach to the senior management or somebody like PMO or somebody like who is basically looking after the PA's responsibilities, roles in the overall executions. Build this governance approach. This is basically for BA's internal day-to-day life cycle executions, and Also information lifecycle, information management approach as per the organizational policies and the procedures, and then business analysis performance management. This is also BA's internal approach and internal guidelines to be used by the BA's team. The governance approach and the business analysis performance assessment is BA's internal improvement and execution plan. If the organization deems necessary to share with others, you have to share, otherwise it's your internal documentation, right? We will have a look at these 3 slides in the next training also, so that you can have a understanding of these things. These are took from the BA book, so whenever you read BA book, you'll get a detailed overview of these things in those document as well. Okay, but I'm just introducing you to basically enable your thought process till Saturday evening. Okay, so we see input, we see the process, and we see the output, right? And now we see the overall guidelines and tools available for a typical BA. So we have a business analysis. Could you please mute? Okay. So we have the guidelines and tools, business analysis, performance assessment, business policies, because these are the horizontals which we need to implement in our process as per the organizational processes and strategies. So we have to have business analysis performance assessment. We have to have business analysis policies to be as an inclusion to overall process what I'm doing as an BA. We have to have an expert judgment or expert support in case if the BA don't have sufficient or enough domain knowledge. We can take that. We can request to the project owner or the project manager for this. Then methodologies and framework as per the organizational policies and strategies, and stakeholder engagement that BA normally decides in his overall initial plan. Okay, just go through these slides. If you're taking if you're using computers, you can take us. Okay, I think you have these things from BA book, so you don't have to take a screenshot of this, but think over it. This is really what a typical BA does day in day out, right? So we're going to start our next class with this, and then go in depth with what are the deliverables, how we plan it, how we can devise it better. Okay, any questions or at this moment for me?
Oh, that's okay. Oh, just maybe it's not so much relevant, but I have heard, like I have seen many of the time. What is the role of the BA? Like, what level he has to be engaged with mock-ups, and like there are many times when we have to be involved in making mock-ups. So, how far do we have to involve? And
mock-up is basically the POC what we discussed, proof of concept.
Okay, wonderful.
So BA is basically defining the scope for POC कि कितना करना चाहिए.
Okay, wonderful.
अगर मेरे को सैंपल टी बनाना है तो होटल का सब कुछ टी पाउडर पूरा का पूरा नहीं यूज करूंगा ना, मैं 2 चम्मच लेके मेरा काम हो जाएगा, right?
बिल्कुल.
The scope of the POC is normally defined by PA.
Okay, sure.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Okay, Aarti, Sheetal, any other question at this moment?
No, sir. And actually, it will take little time for me to understand all these things.
I know, I can understand. Even I'm going to.
And then, if I have any questions, I will ask tomorrow.
No
Yes,
problem.
same with me.
Sure. I'm going to share the BA book. I'll email it to you within the next hour or so. Okay. And this is BA. This is owned by the business analysis community of PMI. So this is not my book. I'm just sharing for the learning purpose. Okay.
Oh, is it Bebok?
Yeah, BA book. That's right.
Okay.
You have that, Cameron?
Yeah, I have this.
Okay, no problem. Then I'll share with Sheetal and Aarti. This is not owned by me. I need to make it very clear. I'll write it in email as well. I've downloaded it from the net. Okay, go ahead, please.
Oh, so these slides are basically from Bebok? If you're
no, not all of them. Oh. No, not all of them.
So please share your slides also, because I'm learning from your slides, so I will refer it if that's okay.
Yes, definitely. Cameron, see, this is basically kind of what I would really love to share down the line after 3-4 days, because these are copyright for Gurukuls, right?
Oh, all right. Okay.
And other thing is that I don't want to steal away surprise in training, because there are quite a few things which are learned at a later stage. If you start asking question earlier, then the overall schedule goes for off. Pardon me for that. Give me a couple of days to
I totally
take time and share with you.
I totally understand. That's totally fine.
No problem. Sure.
But I have a lot of questions. So
keep coming. No problem. And questions are almost welcome. and I believe even Sheetal and Aarti can benefit from this, questions, and even other participant who will come afterwards and learn from us. Only thing is, I believe overall sequence get for a toss for a couple of times, but I'll stop you then and there. So please don't feel bad on that points as well. That's my request. Okay. We are learning. Even I am learning. Believe me, I put myself as a student, and even I learn quite a good things from you. So don't take it. It's a one-way process. That's why we discuss too much, and that's why we put in our efforts or put in our times for these. Right? Yes.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Will we be comfortable with using the Jira as a BA?
Yes, Jira is an important tool. Hey, let's not break the sequence again.
Okay.
Yes, Aarti, do you have any question for me?
No, sir.
Okay, just a simple guideline. Whenever you are not talking or whenever you don't have question, please mute yourself. A request basically, so that I can go ahead and I can be in my what I can say training sick, right? Please don't take it as an what I can say hardcore rule, but this is a kind of guideline so that we can really work better, we can really evolve, right? So thanks a lot for your time.
Sure. So kindly please share. I'm sorry, I missed your full name. Just want
Ravindra
Pandey. Thank you so much for your knowledge sharing and bearing with me specifically.
Hey, we are going to do this for the next 6 weeks.
Sure. Thank you so much for that.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thanks a lot, Aarti. Thanks a lot, Kaman. Thanks a lot, Sheetal. Let's take leave right now. Let's meet on Saturday, your evening time, same time. Okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Take care.
Bye. Good night. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.